WWE followed up their SummerSlam with one of the best Raws in recent history. It's AEW's turn to turn on the Jets and full send it to All In. It's an exciting time for wrestling all around the globe, but especially delightful here in the States. Actions have consequences, and we chat about them all here, now, on Final Wrestling Place.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.
Are you ready to listen to Final Wrestling Place? Kick it! Yeah! Yeah! You wanna be in the good place, fool? You better be doing what you're supposed to do. Bad place, little boy. Good place, little man. Bring it down. Final Wrestling Place. Final Wrestling Place.
Welcome to Final Wrestling Place. I'm Tim.
Oh, I'm still Marcus.
And thank you again so much for joining us wherever you joined us this week, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcast, YouTube, through the soon-to-be-named network at soon-to-be-named-network.tumblr.com. We're glad you're with us. Be sure to follow us on all social media, whether it's on Twitter at TNM Shows or on Instagram at Final Wrestling Place. Or if you're a YouTube connoisseur, go ahead and subscribe. Ring that notification bell over at youtube.com/@Final Wrestling Place, like all our videos. This week on the podcast, we tell you why we're excited about AEW post-SummerSlam, why we're wanting to be excited about AEW pre-All-In, and why I personally hate everything I do to follow Mark from Texas. But first, Marcus, how are you?
I'm good, man. Doing good. Life's good. Nobody cares. How are you?
I'm good. What do you mean nobody cares? Everybody
Great.
cares.
Nobody cares about this part. It's my least favorite part of the show. You know that. Everybody listening knows that. But I got to say right now, Timmy, you're looking good. You look good, man.
It's angles.
You've been hitting the gym. It could be the angles. It could be the lightning, but you still got to put the work in. You've been eating good. You've been looking good. I got to give you a shout out. My man is stepping up and looking good. And especially with that fresh t-shirt that you got on, my man. We are an audio only podcast for now. You've got on the blue edition of the Final Wrestling Place t-shirt available at, what's that site we use?
TeePublic.
TeePublic, baby. You know, they got them sales going on every once in a while. You got to check it out. Joe Sposto will give you more details there over on At Odds. He'll let you know when there's a sale going down and when the right time is to go over there and click. But we got a bunch of selections. We got Bad Terry Still Lies. We got the Final Wrestling Place logo, a t-shirt. We got a whole bunch of offerings of t-shirts and goods over at TeePublic. So go ahead and get yourself a fresh cut right over there. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And that's how I talk $25 to $50 out of people's pockets. Just like that.
I was about to say, I'm not used to hearing this without some sort of muffle, little muffle Jones. That was clear and concise. I appreciate that. And thank you for the loving, kind words. I appreciate that. I know Kenny is probably excited to hear about that. But man, we got a lot to cover, and we have, it's our show. We can go as long or we can go as deep or as wide as we want to. Oh yes. But we're gonna start the best way we know how. Blind rankings.
Oh, no looking.
Tim,
you want to go first or second?
I think I went first last time, so you can pitch to me.
Yeah.
I'll get in the box.
Pitch to you. All right, step on up to the plate. Mr. Tim, I have for you your blind ranking of the top 5 Mr. Undertaker / Mark from Texas SummerSlam matches. That's right, gargling noises. Cue them up. All right, your first one right out of the box is the casket match versus Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine at SummerSlam 95.
5.
Okay.
Easy. I don't like that match at all.
Next up for you is The Undertaker versus the mighty Kamala, the Ugandan giant from SummerSlam 1992.
4. Again. Undertaker didn't really put in the work until later.
Yeah. Speaking of later, we're getting a little bit later here. Undertaker versus Mankind in the Boiler Room Brawl match from SummerSlam 96.
I'm going to go 2 because I think that there's like one shining star maybe in this group.
Maybe.
I like the Boiler Room Brawl. I would have hated being it live, watching it on the substitute teacher roll in TV deals. I'm glad we had the exact same thought.
Oh man,
you know what? For as great as WWE is, at least AEW has never had to pull out the AV carts for anything. No, carry on. What's next?
Next up for you is Undertaker versus my boy Randy Orton from SummerSlam 2005.
I'm going to give this number 1 because I think what you have last is going to be absolute gristle.
Oh, who knows? So number 3 for you is Undertaker versus y'all don't like Edge. Heck in a Sec, SummerSlam 2008.
I'm fine with that.
All right, so run down your order real quick. 5, Undertaker versus Kama from SummerSlam 95 in a casket match. 4, Undertaker versus Kamala from SummerSlam 92. Number 3, Undertaker versus Edge from the SummerSlam 2008 Heck in a Sec. Number 2, Undertaker versus Mankind, SummerSlam 96 Boiler Room Brawl. Number 1, Undertaker versus my boy Randy Orton, SummerSlam 2005.
Well, Marcus, I'm going to make Ed a very happy boy right here. Okay. I might make a couple other people some happy boys and girls out there.
Immediately, I think we're either talking TNA or ECW.
Marcus, I'm going to question your heart.
Oh.
I want you to rank these 5 members of the new Superstar Initiative.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
You can rank them however you want based on your likability or what they did, their careers post new Superstar Initiative. But
okay.
Here we go, baby. We're going to start off with Tyson Kidd.
Oh, Tyson Kidd. I forgot he was part of the New Talent Initiative. I mean, pretty effective, great career. He's a great tag worker. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give Tyson Kidd number 2.
Okay. Next up. He's Jamaican me crazy.
Oh.
Kofi Kingston.
I got to give Kofi number 1.
Okay.
Number 1, man. What a run.
Next up is a man who holds a place eternally in the WWE for taking one of the best RKOs. Evan Brun.
Number 4.
Number 4. Next up, it's a guy who we don't care about very much today, but back in the day, we were all about the all-American Jack Swagger.
Oh, Jackie Swagger. I really love Jack Swagger.
I also have a soft spot for everything Jack Swagger. Jake Hager, die a death.
Jack Swagger.
But Jackie Swagger.
I really like Jackie Swagger. You
have
former world heavyweight champion,
left.
money in the Bank winner, married to a Stone Cold Fox. You don't know Jack. Give me Jack Swagger at number 3.
Okay, because now you're going to be real mad.
Probably.
Number 5 for you is a man who maybe at the beginning was kind of iffy, but now he's just known for putting on banger after banger after banger. It's Sheamus.
Not Sean Spears. All right, Sheamus.
Ugh,
Yeah,
that's Gavin. That's
I botched
Gavin
that one.
Spears, buddy.
Oh man, a lot of great new talent coming through the doors of ECW, the one that made money.
That's right.
Yeah, if I had to redo the list, I'm probably putting Sheamus 2. I'm keeping Kofi at 1. I'm putting Sheamus 2. I'm probably keeping Jack Swagger at 3, Tyson Kidd at 4, and Evan Bourne at 5.
But you didn't, and here's what you have.
I didn't.
Kofi Kingston at 1, Tyson Kidd 2, Jack Swagger 3, Evan Bourne 4, Sheamus 5. Assign all of your hate mail to finalwrestlingplace@gmail.com.
I didn't know if you were going to hit me with a Ricky Ortiz in there, or again Gavin Spears,
DJ Gabriel.
Could have went sideways real quick.
It could have, but I decided to give you just the prime
top
cuts.
Cut. Yeah.
Top cut, top shelf Jones for that. So those are the blind rankings. I'm gonna open it up to the Discord and the YouTube comments. If you guys have any, maybe you don't have like a blind ranking per se, but you have categories that maybe you'd like Marcus and I to put into our rotation to pull some lists together for blind rankings, let us know. Soon to be named Network Discord. It's floating around somewhere. We can give you the link if you need it. Also,
you give me $20.
That's right. Money or nah. You know, sometimes you subscribe to a Patreon to get it, and sometimes you just ask somebody. Either way, we'll let you in the door, maybe, if you're nice. You have to be nice. But, Marcus, we have a ton of things to cover based on these very, very long show notes that you provided. Which,
together?
By the way,
it was me.
God bless you. I love you to death for this. But where do you want to start? How do you want to go?
I mean, let's talk about the fallout. Let's talk about being SummerSlammed out. Let's talk about the fallout from the biggest party of the summer, that being the SummerSlam.
Summerfest.
So let's start with Raw from last week, which feels like forever ago. But I think that's a good thing when it feels like it was forever ago. I think it means that a lot of stuff happened, and I'm also like waiting to see what's going to happen next. And they talked about it on At Odds a bit, talked about it a bit on We Need Wrestling. Final Wrestling Place is our pod, pal.
Yeah.
I'm going.
We Need Wrestling with Brett and the other guy. You know how easy that is, DJ? Go ahead.
Oh man, he was probably just get ready to finally forgive you and make peace, and you can't get out of your own way.
What did I do?
I don't know. You got to sort that out.
I had a make good question. Now I know I pushed it by accidentally making my make good question an accidental 2-part question after already saying I'm not doing a 2-part question. But the spirit was moving through me. But I literally did a spit take when DJ was like, "What the fuck?" Like he just when he lost it when I had the long question of forever. Yeah.
All right. They talked about Raw a bit, but I am here and maybe I'm standing on a little bit of a hyperbole box. I'm going to go ahead and say, and this probably doesn't have much competition, but I think this was the best 3-hour Raw that we've had. Ever. Which is like, but they've been doing 3-hour Raws for like over 10 years now.
Way more than that, I think.
I think there's a stat that there's been more like 3-hour Raws than there's been 2 or 1-hour Raws, which is insane to think about. But I think it's the best 3-hour Raw ever. I only found myself fast forwarding through one part of the show, and it was way late into the show. It was the R-Truth and Miz tag match.
With A-Town Down Under.
Other than that, I watched the show. I watched everything but the commercials, or if a match went to commercial break, I fast forward through that. But the big thing I noticed from SummerSlam before we get to like what happened on the show, the big thing I noticed from Raw before we get to like what actually happened on the show, everybody came out as if the actions and the results of SummerSlam mattered to them.
Yeah.
And it affected everybody's motivation, even if people were left off of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That got to people. And that is such a 180 from WWE and a lot of times AEW recently in the last year or two. Wrestling has really been about, or TV wrestling has been, doesn't matter what happened the night before, you are a video game character. It is very rare to see somebody wear rib tape, or to wear, you know, the KT tape is getting a little bit more play on TV now. But like, to see people actually damaged and wrestle differently because they had a hard match the night before or 2 nights before or whatever. People's entrances were different. Like, Damian Priest walked into the building, man on a mission. Damian Priest, when he made his entrance, skipped his little taunt, skipped his entrance ritual, went straight to the ring, grabbed the mic. That is not stuff we usually get. And we haven't gotten it for years and years and years and years. And it's those little kind of details that make you feel like you're not watching a TV show. You're watching a simulation, or you're watching, again, a movie about a movie. Yeah, that was really cool to watch and super refreshing. And that happening consistently all night, like, really locked me in. Something really small like that, but it's like a bare minimum bar that was met, that, like, I'm locked in.
Was there any one thing from Raw that really put that over the edge for you? Of just the action, like, actions, previous actions have consequences, and because of that, this happens and it jacked you up.
I think it was Priest for me. And we're going to talk about Damian Priest. I feel like maybe this is a natural segue. But to me, I thought that this night, triple stamp, a double stamp, Damian Priest having just lost the world title. We can talk about his world title matches. While the matches have been good, the finishes, whether they are mistimed or whether he's the least important person involved in his own finish, that has harmed him during his title reign.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, a bigger question that was answered during his title reign was, is Damian Priest a top guy in WWE? And by top guy, I mean, to me, WWE is an action movie. And it's at its best, I think, when it functions as an action movie. Whether it's a family crime drama action movie about the bloodline, whether it's man versus country with Bret Hart versus the WWF and versus the USA, whether it's man versus authority action movie with Stone Cold Steve Austin going up against the corporation. To me, that's when WWE TV is at its best. And to me, Damian Priest confirmed that he is a dude that you can have him be your action star of the show. The way he entered the building, to the promo, to the passion that he spoke with, the believability that he had. Sure, he didn't have a classic one-time a one-liner that's an all-timer or anything like that, but he spoke with passion and conviction, and I believed every step that he took and every word he said on the microphone, and then everything he did in the ring, and then everything he did post-match, I believed.
Yeah, it's very weird that I feel as though he is going to be better received as a WWE superstar now that he's not World Heavyweight Champion. Like, in a losing effort, he has catapulted himself to another level. And it's going to be helpful that he's going to have Finn and Carlito and JD McDonough and Dom to feed into him.
Right. He's got a ready-made group to shine him up that he can eat up.
That's right.
And they can keep him busy for a couple months until we're ready for whatever's next, whether that's another shot at the title or whether that's a step up in a program. And I think what helped him they kind of stole from the Undertaker, which is like a SummerSlam 97, right? Undertaker gets cracked with the chair by Shawn Michaels. The pin happens, 1, 2, 3. Brett celebrates. Undertaker takes a second to look back at Brett, but then he makes a beeline towards Shawn.
Because Shawn's the reason why he lost the title.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with Damian Priest at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when he kicks out of Gunther's move or whatever, he immediately like grabs Finn Balor by the throat. Where he's like, I've accepted I'm probably going to lose this title because of your shenanigans. I'm still going to keep fighting, but like right now you are you turned on me. My revenge takes precedent over getting the title back or retaining the title.
Right.
It's my revenge right now. And like that kind of motivation, I think does really well for him. And I'm looking forward to like seeing what Damian Priest does next on Raw. I can't believe here I am, captain of the DP squad, but here I am.
Well, it's a good thing you've got that video from WrestleMania that nobody asked you to take.
I knew it was going to be important for a time like this.
That you would want this, yes. Let the record state, you wanted this.
Yeah.
I'm not quite quick to put him in that next level. One Raw does not a superstar make. Unless your name is Bronson Reed.
Oh, let's talk about the big Bonza.
Okay. Raw lately has been the story thread through every episode of Monday Night Raw within the last like 3 months has absolutely been Adam Pearce cannot control his locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is Raw. Everyone there is Raw. Meaning everybody's ready to fight. Everybody's angsty. Everybody's trying to get into something. Braun Breaker, he did the same thing. He eventually got the Intercontinental title. And now Bronson Reed's like, yo, you left me off of SummerSlam. Now it's the night after SummerSlam. I ain't got nothing on Raw. I want a match. And Pierce is like, of course, no, we ain't got nothing for you. And Bronson Reed's like, well, I saw what Braun Breaker did, and it worked out for him. So what happens next is on you. So in my head, I'm like, okay, Bronson Reed is going to go after Sami Zayn, or
right.
Bronson Reed is going to go after some like mid-tier dude, right? Nah. He went after the baddest dude. He went after one of the big guns. I would dare say it's Raw's biggest star, right?
Yeah, he went after Raw's top babyface. Yeah, he went big game hunting.
And he nailed the segment. Like, Joe talked about it, how like the fans hated it first because he's a bad guy beating up on Seth Rollins. And then eventually Bronson Reed kept going and the fans lost their minds because it was a genuine reaction. And Bronson is he is sick of everything. And he took everything out on Seth with the multiple tsunamis. And I was jacked up in my seat, sitting right here in front of this computer.
Of the fans were reacting because something exciting happened. But to me, also, like to add on to that, like fans will cheer when something cool happens. And you can switch that out. You can switch that out with like exciting, cool, but like the fans are going to cheer and get behind something cool happening. And then they will get back in their pocket afterwards. So like, yeah, after he splashes them 5 times because that's dope. Well, then, yeah, they're like cheering. They're excited. Cool. Now we have a reason to cheer this guy who's been getting a good amount of TV time for the last year or so and just hasn't connected. Finally connected. Like they finally gave him something that he could sink his teeth into and he made the most of it. And then the fans can sing Seth Rollins' song or whatever. But like, this was dope, man. That was a dope segment.
And they've already announced via social media that, you know, quote unquote, Seth Rollins is out indefinitely with multiple bruised ribs and internal bleeding. And Bronson Reed has been fined a large undisclosed sum of money. That, here's another thing. Adam Pearce said that Bronson Reed appealed the fine.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
Adam Pearce also gets to rule whether or not that fine is appealed or not. So Bronson Reed's going to be broke and angry, which it's just going to make for something fun happening on Monday night. What they have to do, though, and WWE has been guilty of this forever and ever and ever. At some point, you have to stop 50-50 booking people.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Bronson Reed now. He was stuck in that loop of just intercontinental title contenders.
Right.
Him and Sammy and Chad. Like, he beat him, but they beat them, and it was like a triangle, and they were all beating each other, but nobody was getting ahead of each other. Bronson Reed now, you have him on the right track. He has got to go on a run. You have to make him believable. And if you have to ask yourself when you're booking, does Bronson Reed beat this guy? And the answer is no, then you don't book that match.
Right.
And you put Bronson Reed in something to make him strong. Even if he's going after weaker people or lesser people, because you really can't get much higher than Seth Rollins right now on Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't go high, go low. And just like smash the Alpha Academy. All of them.
Yeah.
One move. Squish them. Otis, Akira Tozawa, both of them. Done. Have him start beating up people that aren't good guys. Anybody that's in his way that he can squash, get him. Make him a force.
Yeah, like suspend the dude for a couple weeks. That way, like, you buy yourself a couple weeks before you got to start feeding them people.
Right. You know what else would
give
work
them a week
here?
or two.
You know what else would work here too? It's old school. Ban the tsunami.
Oh. That would be pretty dope.
You ban the tsunami, and then you run back the Kevin Nash jackknife angle where he's going and he's like, fine, I'll pay the fine. I'm going to just stick the dude. And you just start counting the fines of Bronson Reed for tsunamiing people.
Yeah.
And eventually, people will love it.
Yeah.
Like, they'll get
I think a way you could get around that is like having him do the multiple, and like he gets fined if he does one like post match. Like, you can do one within the confines of a match, but like as soon as you do it outside of a match, like that's a fine.
Yeah.
That's a ticket to jail.
I can't wait until he gets his hands on Pierce.
That's where I'm feeling like this kind of feels like he's got to give him the big squisher from the top.
Yoko did it to Gorilla Monsoon.
Vader did it. Yeah.
Vader did it to Gorilla. Sorry. Same thought though.
Yeah,
like,
he's got to give him the big gimmick. And then like that's when you can have another baby face. Like if you want to get Punk away from McIntyre in the meantime, like you can do that.
Jey Uso.
And have Punk try to come to his defense. Jey Uso is another guy, right? Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn's another guy. Even though I think I'm done with Sami Zayn, Bronson Reed for the time being.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good on that. But Jey Uso specifically, Jay's a dude who's floating. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, like he's still perpetually over on Monday nights, but he's not really doing anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think him and Sami Zayn are about to team up to go after the Judgment Day and the tag titles.
Okay.
How cool would it be if Bronson Reed was like, nah, actually you're not.
Tsunami
and
Jones.
He just stops him. Like checks him real quick. The more I look at it, the more I see that War Games is going to be it's not going to be the Bloodline. It's going to be the Judgment Day versus Damian and his crew, whoever that is.
Oh, I think a week or two ago, I was pretty adamant that that was not going to be the case. That was going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline. But the way that Roman Reigns just absolutely ate up the Tongans on SmackDown,
like nothing.
I don't know if we can make it to November, baby.
No, we can't even make it to September.
Like, unless they do an injury angle to like injure Roman out until November, yeah.
Like,
I know we're jumping ahead a little bit of what we had planned, but that Bloodline angle might get speed run. It might get allianced.
unfortunately, yeah. Like it's weird. But jumping back to Raw, right? With everything kind of having consequences. The cool thing was Rhea too. Rhea and Damian Priest staying aligned, being like two dudes with attitude, going after, and like I love the invisible force field not being followed.
Yeah.
And Rhea snatch and live. Like everybody, as soon as Rhea starts coming out, the whole Judgment Day goes scatter. And Liv is not used to being a rat on a ship getting off. Like Rhea sees the floater and is like, nope. And I love that Rhea was trying to do Damian's Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
And of course, Dom comes back, pulls Liv. It's just, I'm ready to see WWE do, for the first time, maybe the second time, because I think when Becky Lynch was height of powers and Seth was lesser than right now, they did a showcase of equals between Becky and Seth. But now, a showcase of equals with Damian and Rhea.
Right. And having it be platonic is like a really cool wrinkle that would have never happened in a previous version of WWE.
Right. And it's not like Damian's a chickenish and Rhea's the heavy. It's two heavies.
It's two heavies, yeah. Absolutely crushing.
Yeah. And
like
it works.
They've accidentally kind of recreated like almost like the Outsiders.
Yes. Yeah. And it works that everybody on the Judgment Day is swarmy. Like every one of them is slimy and slithery and very hard to manipulate, hard to get a hold of. Right?
Yeah, it's the pack of hyenas.
Filthy hyenas.
Filthy hyena.
But of course you mentioned him earlier. What about Gunther now?
Oh, big Gunth. Your guy.
Let me ask this, and it's an aside to this. Hey, Marcus.
Yeah.
It only took us until after SummerSlam. But this Raw completely broke open the WWE draft.
So I was going to ask you, like, did I miss something?
No.
Where they were like, oh, so-and-so's here because I understand the cross-brand implications and tie-ins that are happening, but like, did they ever explain like, hey, the GMs or whatever agree to this match happening on Raw since everybody's here at the same time and same place?
So they did explain that for the A-Town Down.
Okay.
Because A-Town Down was embarrassed by Jelly Roll and the Awesome Truth. So they asked Nick Aldis if they could go to Raw to settle beef with the Awesome Truth.
Okay.
There's that. Now, I think they also said that Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce worked out a deal for Randy to come over to face Gunther. I don't know if Randy's going to stay on Raw. I also don't know if Randy was even drafted.
The Viper was drafted to SmackDown. Yes.
I'm going to look just to see.
Because I thought when they did the draft that they would bring him to Raw, but he was on SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm taking a look right now to see who was
drafted. Because they brought him back on Raw.
He was drafted. He was the first pick of the second round to SmackDown.
There we go. Yeah. And he was talking about he wanted to be on SmackDown to wrap up his beef with the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess kind of mission accomplished. I really like the tie-in that they did with hey, if you watched the King of the Ring final, the disputed finish where Randy Orton is 300 pounds and it's really hard to get his jack shoulders down to the mat for a 3 count. And people were like, oh, was Randy trying to go into business? No, Randy Orton's huge. It's hard to get your shoulders down when your shoulders are boulders. They're not exactly flat.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the Orton promo, the setup? Do you like that we're getting a pretty instant payoff to what happened at the King of the Ring?
I do. I like the one thing I didn't like was Randy Orton equating him and Gunther to Flair Steamboat. Because neither of them are Flair nor Steamboat.
Right.
And it for us smarter fans, we immediately think, oh, it's going to be a trilogy.
Right.
So now you're pretty much telling me that Randy's going to beat Gunther and then there's going to be a rubber match, right? But I do get where Randy's saying with two of the greatest wrestlers or two of the best technicians in their time meeting, locking horns for the title, right?
Yeah.
What I loved is, so I love Randy. Whatever anybody has to say about Randy Orton, y'all need, whoever is still on the Randy Orton hate bandwagon, y'all need to, there's a lot of people who need to let the past go. Y'all be a lot happier if y'all just took what was happening at face value and just watch it. Because Randy's the man right now.
Randy Orton is the man. He's always been the man.
But his promos now are so good.
He doesn't have to remember. He doesn't have to remember a 5-page promo instructed to him by Vince McMahon.
True.
That's the biggest thing about Randy Orton. I've said this before, is that because he came up in 2002 WWE, everybody just assumed that Randy Orton is a WWE superstar. And I feel the exact opposite about Randy Orton. I feel like Randy Orton is a pro wrestler at heart. The family that he comes from, if you look at his matches have almost more times than not have been pro wrestling style match than a WWE match.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been some WWE bells and whistles into his matches and into his programs and stuff like that. But if you actually watch a lot of his work, it's pro wrestling. And I feel like he's been a pro wrestler dying to operate outside the body of a WWE superstar. And now he can.
I can see that too. I can absolutely see that. What I loved the most was the post promo. When the mics dropped and the camera got in close.
Oh, right, yeah.
With the handshake. And Gunther going, nothing ever catches me out of nowhere. And Randy going, that's great. I didn't want to catch you out of nowhere. I want you to see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just get me no blue chew needed, Taker. I'm there. I'm already there.
Wiener steroid
wieners. Yep, it's all there. No discreet packaging needed. Little dead man setting up. It's all there. It's so, oh my gosh. It was so good.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
Bash in Berlin in Germany. Are they retconning that Gunther is German now? Because I thought he was Austrian.
He is absolutely Austrian.
Okay.
So maybe they are retconning that he's German, because if you keep saying that he's Austrian and the Germans love him, he's Hitler.
So I guess we're just going to keep saying that he's German, which whatever. Or I don't know. I have no idea about the geography over there. I don't know if it's like close enough that it counts. If it's like the shadows of Austria, I have no idea. Also not interested. We had a whole war about it, so I don't have to care about it. So World War II, rest in peace. I'm good. What I'm asking you is, with the show happening in Germany, and it's very much being booked as a hometown game for Gunther, and it's his first title defense. And they made sure to mention on commentary that his other 2 title reigns have all been lengthy. The UK title, the Intercontinental title. Is it an expectation violation sort of situation that we're about to get, where now that he's got the world title, all right, buckle in, we know it's going to be a year? Or do you think they're going to try to catch us off guard with Orton hitting the RKO out of nowhere at an away game in Gunther's first defense, which goes against everything we've seen Gunther really produce in WWE so far?
Well, to answer your first question, Austria here is outlined in red, and
All right.
Germany
It's like
is
the middle.
right here.
Okay.
And Berlin is all the way up here.
Which looks far on a map, but like Europe's small, so it's probably like a 90-minute drive if they had actual roads. I don't think they really do.
Let me see.
They don't. That's why it takes longer to get places there, because they don't have the highway. Maybe they should have won one of the world wars. They didn't.
It is an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, because they don't have no highways. I bet you got to go back roads and everything like that, basically falling off a mountain to try to get there. Now, granted, they probably do have a train that can get you there in 90 minutes.
There's a train
don't
that'll
have
get you
that
there
here.
in 8.5 hours.
Look, baby, back-to-back World War champs.
You could start walking and be there in 133 hours. But that's not here or there. So is it expectation violation? No.
No.
The craziest stat I've ever seen is that since Gunther has been a WWE contracted superstar, he has held a title for 76% of his time. That's an insane number. Whether wrestling's fake or not, I don't care.
He's definitely got the gimmick of belt guy, which is very good for him. That's a great place to be.
And it's not even that he's belt dude. He's winner dude.
Mm-hmm.
He wins.
Yeah, because he doesn't lose either.
No.
Dude doesn't lose.
He's lost to Sami Zayn. He's lost to Ilya Dragunov.
That's it.
He's lost to Braun Breaker, I think.
No, he's only lost to 2 dudes. Oh, I guess Braun. Who beat him for the NXT title?
I don't
Was
think
he
Gunther
NXT
was ever NXT champion.
No, he wasn't. Okay.
Who has beaten Gunther in the WWE?
I think it's Dragunov, and I think it's Zayn.
There are 4 people who have beaten him.
Okay. I think
Ilya
they mentioned it on
Dragunov,
SummerSlam.
Ilya Dragunov at TakeOver 36. Braun Breaker. Gunther challenged Braun Breaker for the NXT title.
Okay.
And Braun Breaker beat him.
Okay.
Chad Gable beat Gunther by countout.
Okay.
And then Sami Zayn.
Okay. So maybe the stat was there's been 3 men who beat him and 2 of them were in the match or something like that at SummerSlam with Sami Zayn and Breaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Breaker beat him and defended the NXT title.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so rarefied air. Now, granted, most of Gunther's title reign for the UK title was back when NXT UK was quote unquote in witness protection, and it was during the pandemic where everybody went and hid in NXT UK so they wouldn't be fired. Trademark Stokely Hathaway, parentheses, Chuck Taylor TM, close parentheses. But even then, Gunther's still a bad dude. Thick boy, not a thick boy, doesn't matter, right? He's still crushing the game, and I'm excited to see what he does as World Heavyweight Champion. Now, would I find it more interesting if they started hot potatoing this title around? You betcha. Because I'm done with long reigns right now. That's why I really wanted Solo Sikoa to beat Cody.
Well, I'm done with the Cody reign for a different reason, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
We will.
Yeah,
I might be with
all
you.
right.
I might be with you.
I'm gonna put my name on it.
Good.
Yeah, as obvious as it looks in this obvious age of simple but effective storytelling in WWE with no real swerves, bro. I think Orton's beating Gunther. First reign. First defense, RKO. I think Orton catches him.
Okay.
And I think they flip the title back at Bad Blood.
Okay.
And then I think Orton's first appearance after losing is the NXT in St. Louis.
Okay. The live NXT.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
But yeah, I'm gonna put my name on it. I'll happily wear some egg on my face when it is wrong, because it is more likely to be wrong than not.
Right.
Because like you said, Gunther doesn't lose, and he is belt guy, and he is long reign with the belt guy. So,
right.
You know, if there is odds on a Gunther world title run, you know, the end date probably gets set at WrestleMania, and you know, he's probably minus 110. I don't think he's plus money either way. It's probably equally 110 to retain or lose it at WrestleMania.
Okay, so do you think Gunther wins it back at Bad Blood?
Yes.
Okay. Because as soon as you put the title in Randy Orton's hands, now my mind is immediately going, okay, Randy Orton's a champion. Cena's coming back in January.
Mm-hmm.
We got a Rumble. Just have
We
Orton
might
win
get-
the
We might get a Cena versus Gunther match. I will almost say yes to that, and I wouldn't be surprised if the world title's on the line for that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Cena even wins the Rumble, and that's how we get to Cena Gunther at WrestleMania. That would be cool, because Cena can just sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, man, I think the second run, I think Gunther wins it back from Orton. They flip flop it real quick, and I think the second run is the long one.
That's fair. That's fair, because it leads into the story of like anybody can beat anybody once.
Mm-hmm.
They did the exact same thing during the pandemic with Drew and Randy,
Right.
where Drew had the really long title. He was the dominant champion. Randy Orton shows up. He beats him one time. And then immediately they flip the title back at the cage match or the Hell in a Cell. Right?
I think so.
Or does Randy win it at Hell in a Cell and then they flip it back?
They think they flip it back on Raw?
They flip it back somewhere. And I don't know. The pandemic is a blur. It was 12 years and 12 months. The last thing really to cover from Raw, really, is the Wyatt Six.
Your guys.
Marcus, they figured it out.
Now I'm going to ask you,
Good.
Do you think they've figured it out moving forward, or do you think they figured it out for the debut match?
They figured it out moving forward.
Okay.
Because
I am hopeful to agree with you.
Here's why. They are separating the manifestation. If they wrestled in the masks, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't Huskus and Mercy and Ramblin' Rabbit. It was Rowan, Gacy, and Dexter Loomis.
Mm-hmm.
And they worked. That was a fun house show 6-man. The spectacle that is the Wyatts definitely carries them. But at least on Monday, the bell rang and it wasn't horrible.
It was good.
It was good.
Yeah, them guys were humming.
Rowan was on one.
Yeah, Rowan was on one. Gacy wrestled a match like this is your one chance to get over. This is your one chance to connect. And, he did as well as he could do.
He crushed it. Loomis crushed it.
Dexter Loomis looking like the manifestation of like Super Beast. Like if Rob Zombie got the Kiss WCW deal, Dexter Loomis would be the wrestler.
Yes.
He would be the Kiss demon.
Yes.
That dude, yeah, he looks dope. He looks insane.
He's the freakiest looking out of all of them.
Yeah. And I mean, he finished with a top rope dad splash. Like that was like out of control.
Right.
Like no grace to it at all.
Just violence.
Yeah, I like what you said about them manifesting and identifying with characters from the Funhouse and not fully becoming those people and letting it take over their identity, but being something that they relate to and then portraying that in the ring. I think that's really important to their success in the ring. And then I think the other component in the ring is they actually took their time to be like, okay, Joe Gacy identifies with Huskus and Dexter Loomis with Mercy and so on and so on. And you got to know, okay, who is who's behind the mask, a little bit of the why sprinkled in there on commentary. But then like they took their time on TV with the different VHS tapes.
The VHS tapes. Yep.
And being like, okay, this is my motivation and this is why I'm doing it. So yeah, there's the, I guess, some supernatural elements still, or maybe sci-fi is a better word for it, with like the lights and the smoke and everything like that. But like now I can see how these characters can exist on a show with the Creed brothers. I can see how they can exist with a Seth Rollins and so on and so forth. Like I can see how they are roster members. And that is something that struggled with the Wyatt family before. Was like, how does all of this fit into you're trying to present almost like a sports brand? And how does this fit? And now it fits.
Right. It's something for everybody, man. I'm not saying I'm completely like Wyatt 6-pilled, but they crushed it. And now I'm kind of excited to see when Uncle Howdy Bo Dallas takes the ring, because Bo was absolutely the better worker between him and Bray.
I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, but now if I'm Bo Dallas, I think you got a pretty sweet deal just sitting there in a rocking chair during a dope 6-man tag.
Bray Wyatt, you think?
Yeah.
You think Bray Wyatt's a better wrestler than Bo Dallas?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I would have thought you would have had my back on that because you don't think Bray Wyatt's any good.
Tells you what I think about.
You must have forgot the B team.
So I'm not saying I don't think Bray Wyatt was not good. I think his style of wrestling is better suited in Mid South or in up in Mid Atlantic in 1986.
Uh-huh.
I think that he would have some 20-minute bangers with Brad Armstrong or Tim
Tim Horner.
Brad Armstrong's tag partner was Tim Horner. Yeah, like that's
Pez Watley.
Yeah, Pez Watley. Yeah, Denny Brown. Those
Oh
are the
my
lights
God.
I could see. Ron Garvin.
Tom Zink.
Ready for action. Yeah, I don't know. If I'm Uncle Howdy, I'm good sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
Same for Nikki Cross too. Like, I'm sure there's going to become a female component to all this at some point, and where she's going to have her individual spotlight, and that's going to be good. I think Joe had a great idea with making this a house show act, but I think TVs are kind of the new house shows. Before it was a house show driven product, and the pay-per-view money like helped supplement everything and like help give the guys bigger paydays. Now it's very much a TV product. I would keep the Wyatt family or the Wyatt Six. Like, I would keep them as a TV act, and I would not have them on the pay-per-views. And like, if you want a strong Raw before or after a pay-per-view, I would put them on and build up to that on TV. I wouldn't have them be a part of the pay-per-views because I think they come across amazing on TV, and I think they can be a draw to help fill a house and help maintain or pop a rating on TV. That's where I would keep them.
The only fear I have with the Wyatt Act is if they become a supernova of popularity and they start moving merch and they start really like Bray did, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point you'll get put in a position in which you may have to hit the accelerator on the Wyatts.
I do not have that fear with this group.
No.
I could see Bray Wyatt as a singular WWE superstar trademark symbol. I do not feel the same about the current group. They are a great act, right, and you can split them apart in different combinations and have them main event an hour of TV. But like star of the show, we talked about earlier with like a Damian Priest, I just don't see that in the group, and that's not a knock. Like, they definitely have a place. I hope they find their own place. I hope they continue to stretch WWE creatively as far as fitting in and act like this on TV and have them not include the titles right away or speed run it, like you were saying. Like, take your time, come up with different motivation, different personal issues, and have this group have their own motivation away from titles.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm afraid of course, with everything, like, once merch starts moving, WWE numbers change, and when, you know, it starts off as a really nice thing just on TVs, eventually, like, I could easily see the Wyatt Six getting caught into the Judgment Day. And you get Wyatt Six after Damien's done with them.
Mm-hmm.
You got four of them and a girl, and you got four of them and a girl.
Okay.
Right. And
I don't hate that after the pre stuff is wrapped up.
Right. Like, there's definitely something for them. I can easily see the Wyatt Six versus the Judgment Day at WrestleMania.
I don't hate that. If that's going to be your big like showcase for...
Yeah, I think it's an 8-man showcase night one, right in the middle of the card. Maybe like splitting up the main event or splitting up the big matches in the main event. Like, just like you had or the Pride versus the Final Testament.
Sure.
Same thought, right? And that's crazy. Like, I'm sitting here thinking about it now, and I'm like, oh yeah, we covered everything on Monday Night Raw. We completely skipped over the New Day drama with Odyssey Jones.
Yeah.
Like,
I really liked Xavier being like,
he came across as a guy who, okay, you may have been there before with like other friends, right? Where you're really tight with somebody and either you or your buddy brings someone or somebody else to hang. And you're like, oh yeah, he's cool, I vouch. And the other's like, man, why didn't you just like talk to me before? Like, you sprung this dude on me.
Yeah.
Because like Xavier was definitely like cool and chill, but it took the Alpha Academy to show up to like get him smiling.
See, so I thought that was him like flipping a switch, being like, oh, hey, like, hey, I'm happy. I'm supposed to be happy Xavier Woods with the New Day. Do this little bit. I'll do my little bit. I don't know if that's going to go into more like seeds of dissent sown by the Final Testament.
I think it's going to come across that way.
Yeah. But even so, like, if that's stuff that's happening on the undercard, like,
cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, we have some kind of development with the New Day, who have pretty much been dead in the water for a couple of years now. Like, post-Kofi Mania.
There's always a spot for Barbarian sitting in the crowd eating raw meat next to Jameson. There's always room for that. Right? Like, there's a spot for it. Especially since like Xavier leaned on the Alpha Academy while Kofi was gone, and then Kofi comes back and he brings a bigger answer to Big E, and apparently Big E is signed off on it too. Like Big E vouches for him, so I'm like, I want to see more. As somebody who's super invested in the New Day, I want to see Xavier and Kofi really work through this.
Right.
Whether it's on social media or not. Because, like, even on social media, Xavier's like, I'm ready for my singles push. Like, I'm ready to be a singles champion. And I'm just like, whew. You're picking the wrong time right now. We're hotter than ever, Xavier. It may not be your time for a little bit. Maybe on SmackDown. Maybe you can head over to SmackDown, maybe do something, but Raw is crazy. But yeah. Anything else from Raw before we flip over and talk about how Roman Reigns baptized the Temu bloodline in the blood of Vafa and Sika? Like,
let's get to it, man.
I ain't never seen Roman Reigns beat so much ass at one time in my entire life. Here's the real question. What's your thoughts on the theme now that they actually timed the entrance right with the theme on SmackDown?
It is still lesser than to me, but Roman will get it to work. No, I don't. It's not epic when it's all the time.
He's epic. He's all the time. Yes.
I don't like it as all. I still prefer the old theme. I still prefer the Shield music.
It's the same song.
Yeah. But can we talk about that clothesline?
The first one to Tama on the outside.
Oh man, yeah,
Tama asked for it.
That was a full send.
Tama must have said something about one of Roman's kids, because there's no way that came unwarranted.
It was a full send, and I was thinking like, oh man, like this new bloodline, they're definitely going to do an angle where like, you know, they jump Roman or they're getting the better of Roman for a couple of weeks, and Roman's going to have to like really dig deep and be by himself to kind of start fighting through these guys. And then he's going to need the family's help. And all that was done away with about 5 minutes of TV time on SmackDown, where Dog is on the hunt. And it's not a matter of if, which I thought it was before, but now it's a matter of like when.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's not even a matter of when, but it's a matter of how soon, how quickly. Because I don't know if they're going to be able to stretch this out to some series. And I don't know how bad the Jacob Fatu leg injury is, how much of a role that played into things. Like if he's out for a good bit, I can further understand why maybe they're trying to speed run this through a little bit. Good thing there's always more Samoans. Is this where you bring in a Hikuleo, who I'm already calling Tala Tonga in my mind, and I have been for a while, ever since I saw the trademark. Not a bad spot. Bring him in, buy a little bit of time to get Jacob healthy. Because the Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns match, that's where there's the money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to put food on the table for a lot of people. That's going to be the goods, as our friend Jeremy Piven would say.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, this Roman Solo thing, yeah, they're just getting to it. It almost feels a little bit like Austin coming back from the neck injury and finding out like who did it and going straight after Rikishi, and like all that is wrapped up by October, like a month after he came back. That's what this is feeling like. This may not be here for long. But I had a question for you about your boy, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Nightmare Man? Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. How do you feel about all this happening on his watch? Like, he is the WWE champion. He is the undisputed WWE champion. He is the man who many were clamoring for him to finish his story. And now that he has, we get to live with what that looks like. And I'm not going to say it's been a failure. I do think WWE has struggled historically to have heels and to have stories ready for the newly crowned babyface of the company in their history. That's always been a struggle. But how are you feeling? Because we're getting into the thick of the warm of Cody's title run. It's not early anymore. Mm-hmm. And how are you feeling? Because we've already had AJ Styles exhibition pretty much, and then we had the AJ Styles angle, and then we had the blood match with AJ.
Mm-hmm.
And now we had the bloodline thing.
Right.
And next up, it looks to be like a Kevin Owens thing. And if we've all seen Kevin Owens and Kevin Steen before, we all think we know how this one's going to go. So how are you feeling about Cody, and how do you think this one's going to go with Kevin Owens?
I think Kevin Owens is going to return to form.
So does Cody take the package pile driver?
Yes.
Okay, I think so too. I think he busted out on Cody, and I think we get to see Cody in a neck brace.
I believe the answer you're looking for is without question.
I think they're going to slap the Nightmare logo on the neck brace.
They better. They better. If they don't, they're cowards. And I'm telling them right now. We need a number one heel on SmackDown that is not bloodline related.
Desperately.
We don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
especially if Roman is babyface. Roman and Kevin cannot be on the same side.
Yeah.
They are, to quote a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical, they are two diametrically opposed foes. They are not on the same team. They will never be on the same team. They are Peter Griffin and the chicken. They are fighting forever. There is no resolution.
Real quick, about that, I loved on SmackDown how Kevin Owens is trying to be like, oh golly gee shucks, not me, don't give me the title match. There's a ton of people in the locker room. As soon as Roman
Reigns' name came up, he was like, how many times did I have this sucker beat during his title reign?
F that guy. No, not him. Anybody but him.
It's like, you know what? Me. Not him, me.
Right. Not him again. And like the realization that like, oh no, if Roman gets a title back, we could be in for another 5 years of Roman with the belt.
4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. Yeah. Kevin Owens channeling his inner Kamala Harris. We're not going back. Like, just not doing it. And yeah, I really want to see Kevin be mean again.
Yep.
Be mean, be angry, be nasty. He's not winning the title.
No, I don't think so either.
But he's going to be mean and nasty. He's going to do bad all by himself.
Like, not only do I need the apron power bomb, I need the package pile driver.
The package.
They've been teasing it a little bit. And we recently saw it at Money in the Bank. Infamously. Tonga Loa took it away from us.
Are you using that word?
With intent, yes. Yeah, I think Cody's got to eat the package pile driver.
The package.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty sick.
It is going to be sick. I can't wait.
Dude, Cody neck brace is going to be good stuff too.
Tastes great, less filling. I love it.
All right, man. I think that wraps up WWE. It's a pretty meaty WWE part.
It is very thick. But there's a lot to cover, man. Especially since we are the more WWE leaning of the offerings on the soon to be named network. I feel like it may be our duty for fair and balanced coverage of American wrestling, I guess.
No. No. Look, I know what WWE is. I'm not here to tell you that if you miss anything from WWE that you're not going to be able to pick right back up. I went months, might have went a year without watching the weekly TV and knew what was going on the whole time. It is not rocket science what's going on in WWE.
Right.
But there are parts of the programming that I do enjoy. And again, like, I like finding out different things about people other than what the storyline is. Like seeing Damian Priest actually be able to carry being the main star of the show. I was like, that's pretty cool to me. I enjoy finding stuff like that out when I watch wrestling.
Right. And like, before we like segue out and move to the next thing, Brett made a very astute observation on We Need Wrestling. And by the way, if you're one of the weirdos, and I don't want to say weirdos, but like if you're one of the people who listens to us and does not listen to the other wrestling podcasts on the network, like you're doing yourself a disservice. Like I feel like between the 3 shows that we do, while they are all wrestling, you really get a 3D image of what is happening both internationally and domestically between the 3 of us. But Brett mentioned his nephew's love now for wrestling. And it reminded me, because he was like, the kids are all in and they're biting on everything. And Ed, Stink Sheet Ed, has said multiple times that WWE is a show for babies. And I agree with him. I do agree that it is a WWE then, now, and forever has been a show written for babies, with the exception of like a 2.5 year window when we had pimps and porn stars and people telling you suck it.
Because they didn't want to go bankrupt.
Exactly. And the
out of 50 years of this company, there's a 2.5 or 3 year period where they actually did things differently.
Correct.
And it just so happened to coincide with
the hottest time in wrestling history.
The hottest time in wrestling and pop culture history.
Right.
It's never happening again.
Right. Now, wrestling is hot again.
Mm-hmm.
And I would dare say it's hotter now than it was during the Attitude Era, but a different metric now.
Yeah, it looks different. Yeah.
It looks different. But it is a show for children. But Marcus and I, we don't suspend our disbelief or suspend our belief. Marcus and I are, remind me of, Marcus and I are Brennan Huff and Dale Doback. We go back to our dinosaur every Monday and Friday, and we become kids again. We're still adults, but we transplant ourselves back into this time where WWE is enjoyable.
Yeah. And sometimes it's really stinky.
It is really stinky.
And really stinky for a lot. But also, I'll come in here and say, Raw for 3 hours was a really good show.
And we know about Stinky Raw. Go back and listen to our time covering the Raw guest hosts, a.k.a. the dark times of Final Wrestling Place, where we literally almost quit the show. We broke everything.
It broke us.
Oh my God. We're like Walker and Texas Ranger getting beat up by Ricky Bobby's mom. Like, that's us. We're there. I feel like this we're gonna go a little out of order because I feel like it fits here before we start talking about AEW.
And now, Tim Taylor presents The Undertaking.
What is so effing funny? Can we get the sounder done?
It brings me so much joy. All right, take it away, Tim.
Okay, so
gargling sounds.
Undertaker talks to Demetrius Johnson on 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway this week. All it did was remind me how of a bad dude Demetrius Johnson is. So there's nothing really to report from the podcast. There's no Blue Chew read.
Oh.
They're only doing these stupid like hemp pouch CBD, not skull stuff. But what I want to talk about is my other trip down the line. I watched the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul.
Oh man.
Set
up the GoFundMe for Tim. Thank you for your contributions to the soon to be named network. A tip is in order.
Here's a tip. Buy Honda stock, your breath smell. Like, this is dog. Do you want to know why I hate this so much?
Why do you hate this so much, Tim?
Because every time Logan Paul gets a guest on his show that's a wrestler, he ends up wrestling them. Cody. He had Cody on, and then he wrestled Cody.
Right.
Before that, he had who was his other? He's had Randy Orton on. He's wrestled Randy Orton. Who else? He had Roman Reigns on, and then he wrestled Roman.
Okay.
So he gets buddy with all these wrestlers, and then they have a work. And in the interview, The Undertaker talks about how he was searching for, quote, one last match.
Yes.
And he did the song and dance where he's like, WrestleMania 40 helped me out a lot, and it closed the door. But he admitted something. So remember the last time they were in Saudi Arabia and the Undertaker did like a press thing for like a soccer tournament that was down there?
Yeah.
He did like a public appearance as the Undertaker. Well, apparently the Undertaker, all of his robes and all of his hats, except for one pair or one set, is in the vault with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd have to go and talk to warehouse and they'd have to pull all of that stuff. There was one set of hat, jacket, and gloves that was still in his possession.
Mm-hmm.
And once he was done with the Saudi Arabia soccer thing, he packaged up his coat, his gloves, and his hat, and he presented it to the king of Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right, here you go. He's done. This is yours. Which tells me that Vince McMahon doesn't have the break glass in case of emergency button anymore. Saudi Arabia does.
It's a take in a box.
They're going to give us The Undertaker versus Logan Paul in Saudi Arabia.
Where it should happen.
And I'm going to eat myself into a coma. I don't want it. Please, God, no. Insert the Michael Scott, no, please, God, no, GIF here. Okay?
GIF.
It's GIF. The dude who made it named it's GIF.
Yeah, he's not here. It's
if
GIF.
you had a baby and you named if your baby was named Megan and you, Ric Flair, want to call your kid Megan, is it Megan or is it Megan?
Yeah, but it's not a person. It's a GIF.
It's better than a person. It's a meme. It's GIF. I'm not fighting.
Tim, I'm here to tell you.
I'm here to tell you. I don't care what everybody else tells me.
I think it's a good program. I think it's a good program. That is the exact opponent that The Undertaker needs. It's the exact type of person The Undertaker needs. And it's going to happen at a place where, like,
nobody cares.
If you're a super WWE head, yeah, you're going to turn in. But, like, yeah, again, like, nobody cares.
And Undertaker said he's like, I could do a match right now, but it wouldn't be what the diehard Undertaker fans would want. And like, I don't want to go in there with somebody who's going to carry me. Mm-hmm. Mark Taker doesn't want to get carried.
No.
So he's going to work Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I
because
hate
Logan Paul can bump with a broomstick.
Yes.
He can work with a broomstick.
Yes.
Again, I don't want to shine this dude up after the couple weeks he's had. I mean, that dude sucks. But as far as professional wrestling goes, sometimes really bad people are really good at things. And he is really good at WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's probably what your boy Mark from Texas needs.
You want to know why he needs it? Because he's sick of being cash poor. Yeah, he gonna test.
That's why he can't get more stuff made.
Because he ain't got it up front. He doesn't have an LVAC he can go work. WWE ain't making no Taker shirts. You know. He's about to burn up all his connections with 9line or whatever. But
are we gonna see the purple streak down the pants?
No.
On his next set of gear.
No. If anything, we're gonna get that hybrid Boneyard match Undertaker.
Okay.
We're gonna get Taker's gonna get a chopper shipped to Saudi, and he's gonna drive a motorcycle down the ramp with Kid Rock, American Badass. It's gonna look like Kenny Powers dancing to Real American on a baseball on a pitcher's mound from Eastbound and Down.
I do think that there is a way to do one more proper Undertaker send off with like the hearse coming out and like a casket coming out of the hearse and going towards ringside, and like Undertaker making his entrance, whether it's on the back of the hearse or whether it's like
with a vulture.
A vulture, or it's a ring cart, or it's the motorcycle. Yeah, and then like just in ring, right? Like we need old school, or at least the bump off the rope, right? We need the rope walk. We don't need the whole thing, but like if you can give us the rope walk and he gets laid off, boom, that's fine. We need Snake Eyes, the big boot, choke slam, last ride, tombstone, and everything else, like Logan Paul's just bumping off of punches and strikes and stuff. And you put Logan Paul in the casket. You got Undertaker, the last ride, whether it's the hearse or whether it's the motorcycle up the ramp. I don't know, man. I'm not a Mark from Texas guy. But within the WWE and like kind of having an idea of what it takes to pull off a match, like, yeah, there is enough there. They should be able to piece one together.
Yeah, they can.
But it would probably look a lot like the John Cena match from WrestleMania 34.
That's not what Mark wants, though.
That's not what Mark wants, but it's probably what he needs.
I think Mark wants a full match.
Yeah.
Just a nice full match.
Yeah. No, Mark from Texas wants to be able to go 20 minutes. That's not what's needed. A good 10-minute match with all that, and with Logan Paul bumping around and flying around and getting heat. That's totally fine, man. 10 to 12. That's all you need. Oops, Sounds of Freedom. But Mr. Tim, I got to thank you for your service, for putting yourself in the position to watch the Impulsive podcast. Again, couldn't be me, wouldn't be me. So I got to thank you for your service. Thank you for the content and context you're providing to the pod, and being the hero that we all deserve. Thank you.
I'm not the hero that Gotham I'm not the hero Gotham wants. I'm the hero Gotham needs. And I just wish there was a Two-Face that I could just pass this down to, and somebody could die and take the hero spot, and I can run off like a vigilante in the darkness. But I can't. Pain, blues, and agony. But yeah, man. So let us shift gears away from WWE, and let's go into the world of AEW. We are encroaching upon All In. All In is shaping up to be pretty nice. But I don't. Is it fair to say that? So I watched Dynamite, and I don't feel like they've got the right head of steam for All In. Are you pumped?
We are sneakily only 2 weeks out, and I don't have the All-In fever like I did last year.
Right.
And it's not because of Wembley and the setting and everything like that. I truly felt like they had pushed all their TV to time up to kind of this big climax of this event. And that's what was driving. And right now, outside of like Tony and Mariah, which I think has kind of been mishandled since the Awesome Angle, I'm just not hooked on anything. And I'm big sad about it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I want to be hooked. I'm here to be hooked. But nothing is really speaking to me, including Danielson versus Swerve. Now that Danielson's put his word up, that he's putting his career on the line.
Right. I mean, since the last time we recorded, they've added a couple of matches. They've announced a Casino Gauntlet match for a future AEW title match. There's a 3-way trios match for the World Trios titles with Bang Bang Gang, House of Black, and the Patriarchy. That all spawned from Collision. And then, of course, you've got the pre-show match, which is going to be amazing, of Stat and Stoke versus Willow and Big Tom.
Right. That'll be good. That'll be fun.
That's going to be awesome. But I still feel like it's missing like 2 or 3 matches.
Yeah.
That really can like get us to sink our teeth in. Like I'd love a stadium stampede of some kind. I know I teased it a little bit in my prognostication when I said Okada was going to face Jarrett for the Continental title. Looks like that's going to be Okada Claudio.
Right.
So if that match gets added, I'm here for it because I think that's a first time ever matchup. And then Hanger and Jarrett.
Yeah.
If that match happens, that's what I'm spending my money on to pay.
Correct.
Like that's the match I get super excited about and I blue chew up.
Yeah. That'll be my new number 1 match for sure.
Mm-hmm. Because Hangman's it right now.
Hangman, I know he's had kind of somewhat lazy comps, I think, to like Barry Windham.
Right.
To me, he reminds me so much of Bret Hart right now.
Okay.
Like,
do you want to elaborate on that?
As a character right now, his total lack of empathy for anybody and being obsessed with how he has been wronged and how he looks to right those wrongs and how he's actually in the right because of all the things that have happened to him. And it was okay for those things to happen to him, but it's not okay for him to turn around and avenge those things. It just reminds me so much of Bret. Like his character work is so strong. And I thought his world title run, it gave me a lot of like 94 Bret vibes as well. So yeah, that's just kind of like how I see Hanger right now.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm here for that. We still have the AEW tag titles that are still floating around.
Yeah, I'm good.
With the FTRs and the Acclaimed and the Young Bucks. So it's going to be a mixture of one of those 3 teams.
It feels like a triple threat, or maybe it's a.
But do you want to do it? Yeah,
maybe it's a eliminator or whatever on the pre-show.
Do you want to do 2 3-way tags? I
would think not.
Right,
but it doesn't. It's getting a little late to add a 4th, and
there is no 4th team in AEW.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you gonna dig up? Top Flight with Layla Gray? You gonna what? Private
be
Party?
Mad at that necessarily.
Right. Respectfully, like I'm not gonna. Like the Outrunners ain't there.
Wish they were.
The Eminem collection.
Not yet.
Not them. Not yet for them. The Lucha Bros. Whether or not they're done or not.
Please don't go, Spot.
Yo, I know we just covered a bunch of WWE's talk. Penta, Phoenix, Stay home.
Go make $1 million.
No.
Go
stay
make $1
in
million.
AEW.
No, really?
I do not want them in WWE.
Wow, I'm on the complete opposite side of the fence. I think they should jump as soon as possible.
They are going to get Sin Cara in WWE.
I don't think Penta will. I know they want to be a package deal.
Become LWO dudes.
Probably.
That's horrible.
Most likely. But those dudes have such a great look, especially Penta. Go make $1 million. The Penta masks, all the figures that they could make.
If it was just Penta, I would have a different answer. But they're going to come over as a group. They're going to come over as a tandem, and they're going to want to be put together as a tandem. And then when they realize it ain't that much better over here, kid, I don't think that's for them.
I'm all for it.
I want them to stay in AEW. I want AEW to finally figure out how to get the most out of everybody they have.
So I was thinking about this earlier, rightly or wrongly. I think AEW has doubled down on who they are booking around. And again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is at least a direction.
Right.
I think it's the wrong direction for some of the people that they're doubling down on, but they've at least picked a course.
Right.
But yeah, man, there's not that match to hook me for All In yet, really. Again, I feel like Tony Mariah, they did the cool angle and we're like, we'll figure out the rest later.
I think they lost a lot of steam.
I don't think they should have brought Tony back. I think I would have saved Tony coming back for like
this week's
maybe
television?
this week of TV. Yeah.
In Norfolk?
And do the big return there. And then do it one more pull apart on TV to go home. I mean, Hanger Jarrett has been well built and those guys are awesome.
And that's not even
so
on the card
that's
yet.
going to happen, but that's not officially on the card yet. And then like Swerve Danielson, I love Swerve. I love the talky bit he did with Jim Ross. I thought that was a great piece of business.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was a great layer to his character. I feel like he is now just really getting settled into this title run. And much like with Bret Hart's first run, they're going to yank the title off of him at like right when he's finally getting settled in.
You think?
I think so. I feel like it might be a situation where Danielson's getting like overruled because I feel like Danielson is just me, black man looking, did so much for Kofi and Kofi Mania and played his part perfectly and had that payoff at WrestleMania. And I feel like Danielson would want to triple stamp the double stamp of Swerve at All In. But then as soon as you put the career stipulation on there, it's like, I don't know how you book yourself out of that one.
But he's already announced that this is his last year of full-time active competition.
A full-time active competition, but he said if I lose, then I'm done.
Yeah.
Call it now.
Yep.
So
lose. I don't think anybody.
I think that should happen too.
I don't think anybody in the history of wrestling would be mad at Bryan Danielson having Terry Funk levels of retirement.
Probably not.
No, like, especially if he comes back for the right reasons. Like when he fights. Like
it would be cool if Swerve beat him and then they do some type of tag match or something where Swerve needs a partner. And because Swerve has alienated so much of the roster, Swerve gives the okay for Danielson to come back.
Right. But even then, even in the build up to the match, Swerve's like, you don't have to promise it to me. I don't
Right,
care.
your family.
Promise it to your family. Keep the promise to them. And in the immortal words of Michael Jordan, F those kids. So what? Birdie and Denham, or whatever the name of the other kid is, I don't know. Like, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Daddy's not on the road all the time. He's not going to Japan. He's not getting beat up. He's fine. Yeah, he comes back. He comes back in an All-In. He goes to a New Japan. He does a Wrestle Kingdom. He does a Wrestle Dynasty. He's in a G1. I'm just asking a lot of Bryan Danielson right now.
My boy D. Bry, you know he's in my fave 5, man.
Oh man. But
Yeah.
Is there anything that could get you excited for All In between now and then? Because right now, what's really hurting me getting excited about it is that two of the biggest pushed matches involve two people who I am very disenfranchised on right now.
Okay, who's that for you?
MJF and Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
I would rather walk home from Uganda than to watch Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker do whatever they're going to do at All In. And I'd do it with no water if that also meant I had to watch MJF and Will Ospreay. Will is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting.
From Berlin to Vienna.
133 hours. Send me on it. Just have me avoid all the bad areas. I just don't care. They don't do anything for me.
So that kind of goes back to my point about the direction that they've picked.
Right.
It's like two of those people that you've gone all in on is MJF and Mercedes. And like you, I'm good, fam. I'm not interested at all.
And I'm big on Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
Not even this. And
Same.
his match with Kyle Fletcher on Dynamite was good, except for the part where he reverts back to doing the kangaroo kick because he's from Australia, mate. And when MJF can get out of his own effing way, he's good. But he can't help but to just continuously get in his own way. And I hate this American title gimmick.
There's just so many ideas happening at the same time. It's telephone, right? It's the Lady Gaga and Beyonce music video. It's so many ideas at the same time. You can't get over. You can't understand anything that's happening. This title reign started out with I'm proving that I'm an American wrestler and American wrestling is superior to international wrestling. But going back to MJF's motive when he came back, it was about the insecurity of being surpassed by a Will Ospreay while he was gone. And how does that connect to American wrestling versus international wrestlers? It doesn't connect at all. And it's a bad idea. And somebody should have said no. Because if we would have stuck with, I'm still being insecure, well, that's something that can be related to. And that's something that you can see and you can put the pieces together with what's been on TV.
Right.
But this whole America thing, it's just trying to be an entertaining bit. And it's trying to do WWE. And when anybody outside of WWE tries to do WWE, even WWE sometimes, it stinks. And this stinks. Congratulations, San Francisco. You ruined pizza. You ruined Will Ospreay.
Oh, man. It stinks.
It stinks, man, and I'm really bummed out about it.
But
Because there's better. There's better out there for everybody involved, and this isn't it. And this stinks, brother. And I don't like it. And I'm really bummed out now because I really want to enjoy All In. And
we're gonna.
as we will, because it's live wrestling, we're gonna have fun. But like, as the show itself on its own, as it stands on its own, no, I gotta say I'm less than hooked right now for the show, and that is a bummer.
Do you want to know, like, so this is gonna suck, and this hurts to say, but like, when I follow AEW less and I watch the pay-per-views, I'm more entertained by the pay-per-view because I didn't watch the lead up to it, so I can take the pay-per-view at face value, right?
Right.
So do I need
That's how I feel about WWE.
Currently?
Not currently, no. But
Right.
like for over the
like,
last like 2 years.
Where I was with WWE, I am now with AEW. They have completely flip-flopped for me. Because I used to be fully in on AEW and would watch WWE from the shadows, and now it is reversed.
Okay.
Like, AEW to me, unfortunately, is not, like, it is still in my rotation, but it is not, like, priority watching.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that's because, part of that is because I'm so, like, I don't care about Rampage or Collision because both of those shows feel like neither of them are the second show. Like, somehow they found their way to both be the third show of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And Dynamite's the big show.
Like, somehow they're both All-American Wrestling.
One is All-American and one's Superstars. But we live in a world in which Raw exists.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I hope that Tony Khan's big announcements that he has stated for Dynamite this week.
Does Tony Khan have a huge announcement?
He does.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Okay. I didn't know that.
I hope to God that the announcements are involving streaming, the AEW library, things like that.
Okay.
And like more infrastructure in regards to their media. Because to me, it really it hurts that I don't have a place that I can go back. Even with the short history of AEW, there's not a place I can go to like I can with WWE, with TNA, with New Japan, with Pro Wrestling Noah, with Stardom, with Marigold, with DDT, where I can go and watch the older stuff.
Right.
It's not there, and it drives me up a wall because it's good stuff. And I want them to be more accessible.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're getting there. And hopefully it's not the announcement of Ricochet being in AEW. Or whatever his name's going to be.
Yeah.
Wonder if Prince Puma's showing up.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Ricochet.
I'm pretty sure it's Ricochet. I'm pretty sure Ricochet's in that Battle Royal. The Casino Battle Royale for the...
Oh, how much you want to put that he's going to be the Joker?
Oh, minus 300 odds.
Yeah, thank you.
Minus 300 Ricochet is...
Yeah, I'll put 400 on it.
Oh, we're going minus 4 on that? Fair enough.
I don't like that.
Bet 400 to make 100.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Did you buy anything this week?
I did not, but I've been perusing Ringside Collectibles because I'm getting a little itchy.
I'm also itchy. I went on a
I'm
safari.
getting itchy.
I went on a
Ooh,
safari Friday. I went out to eat with a couple of my consortium's coworkers, and we were near the mall. So that's where our closest Target is.
Okay.
So I went in. They had the full line of Elite Legends 23, I think, which is Guitar Hogan, UWF Big Bubba, Rosie, and Jamal.
Oh, neat.
They
Okay.
had the whole set. Now, unfortunately, I've got Terry fatigue, even though that Terry looks cool with the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't yet have a Ray trailer, but I don't want Big Bubba, but I want that UWF title. Like, I don't want Big Bubba, I want Boss Man. I want Blue Boss Man. And then Rosie and Jamal are cool, but like I don't have like anything really from like the 2000s in my collection, aside from like the ultimate Triple H.
Batista.
Yeah, and Batista too. But even then, Batista's a different era, I feel, than Rosie and Jamal.
It's like it goes like
how long
wrestling
of a time,
now compared to like wrestling there. It's like that was only 2 years.
but it felt like
Batista
forever.
being champ and Rosie Jamal. Yeah,
it was forever because by the time Batista was champion, Jamal is Umaga.
just about. Yeah.
Right. So either way, yeah, I've also been good. I will be in the market for a new PlayStation controller. Because I am experiencing stick drift on my left Joy-Con or my left joystick. And it's making playing college football very not fun. Can't pick plays because the plays just roll.
Dang.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and spend $9,000 on a PlayStation controller because that's how much they cost. But aside from that, like, we're gonna be busy bees the next couple of weeks between the Creed concert and fantasy football starting back up, and we got all
League expansion, perhaps.
There's only one way to find out, right? We just gotta. I don't know if the league is dead. I don't know if we're coming back. I don't know if we're expanding to 9 teams, 10 teams. I'll take your money. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll happily take your money. But either way, it's going to be fun. I'm very excited, and I'm glad we were able to talk wrestling together. Do you have anything you need to plug?
No plugs for me.
Same here. So all we got left is the soon-to-be-named network, soon-to-be-named-network.tumblr.com. Catch all the podcasts on the network, including but not limited to our wrestling offerings. I've had Odds with Wrestling with Joe and Adam, and We Need Wrestling with Brett and DJ. At STBN Network on Twitter is your spot for everything. If we're on podcast outside the network and we let Joe know, he'll put them up there. A big shout out to our third man, DeWicki. He's responsible for all the sounders you hear on the podcast, the undertaking stuff, the intro, the TNM shows sounder. Great dude. So many good podcasts on the network between Wings on Wings and Profane Arguments and Puzzle Warriors 3 and Long Box Heroes and Long Box Heroes After Dark. I mean, it's just so much fun. It's a good time by all. If you want to follow us on social media, you absolutely can. Follow me at Not the Toolman, Marcus at the Wrestling Speakeasy. If you know, you know. At TNM Shows on Twitter, at Final Wrestling Place on Instagram. Like and subscribe on the YouTube. Search for Final Wrestling Place. We appreciate it. I see the comments that are up there every so often. You guys are amazing. Keep killing it. We will be back here next week to talk more steam rolling into All In, see if WWE can follow up a hot Raw and a really decent SmackDown with some stuff, and just whatever else the spirit moves. But Marcus, all that's left right now is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.